I'm so paid, daddy, you respect me, black, yeah, I said no lie. Catch me in the crib doing push-ups. Catch me in the crib doing push-ups. Drink my fruit, smoke my vegetables, and that's how I stay healthy. Gotta get them vegetables in here. Like, what his name, Young Veggie?
Smoke.
Do you honestly think you're fucking funny? Seriously? You're a fucking ugly little cunt, mate, and if I ever see you, I'm gonna fucking slit your fucking face off.
Damn.
Damn,
This is a certified hood classic.
Here we are, we could make you delirious. You should have a healthy fear of us. Cause too much of us is dangerous, but so dangerous, we so dangerous. My flip most card is dangerous, so dangerous, we so dangerous. My whole entire unit is dangerous. Come on, bruh, swinging from right to left, with the block left, nigga should be.
Shit, what do you want to talk about, man? I was thinking, I don't know, I've been in that zone lately where I just been on the music tip. But actually, I've been in the studio, shit, I've been up since about 5:30 actually. 5:30, 6 o'clock, I already been up, took a shower, brushed my teeth, I done made me some smoothies. You know what I'm saying? I done cleaned up, I done put some clothes in the laundry and shit. And so I'm thinking, like, right before I started the stream, I'm looking through YouTube, seeing what I can listen to. And I was gonna put on some Dr. Boyce Watkins. That's my man's. You know what I'm saying? But I notice it's kind of like it's the viewers are different sometimes. If I can get more viewers on YouTube if I listen to lectures and documentaries, and it seems like I get more viewers. I get more viewers on Facebook if I listen to lectures, and I get more viewers on YouTube if I listen to music. It's weird. Like YouTubers like music, and so normally now when I'm on YouTube, I just kind of listen to music. But I wanna listen to more lectures. I want to stay true to my theme of the show, which is art and education. So we can't let it go too long without slipping that education in there, even if it's just three of us in here listening to this shit. And it be like that sometimes. Right now it's just me and you. You know what I'm saying? So, but I try to keep it where people want to chill and check out the stream and see what's going on. But I definitely this morning I was sitting in here like, should I put some music or should I listen to Boyce Watkins? Because I listened to Dr. Boyce 2 days ago on the Black History Network, and he was talking that good shit, man. Like usual, you know what I'm saying? And talking about business formation and the programs he offered for youth development and economics and stock markets and shit like that. Cause I got my son. I want to get my son for the summertime. It's cool, you know what I'm saying? I wish I had him all year, but during the summertime, I try to find shit to keep his ass occupied, So this summer, I think I might sign him up for Dr. Boyce Watkins' economic youth workshop and let him understand what dividends and derivatives and motherfucking shares and bonds and all that good shit is, you know what I'm saying? Buy low, sell high, all that good shit, you know what I'm saying? The course is like $150 or something like that. So, but I think it'd be worth it where, he has to sit down, take these online courses and get tested on that shit, you know what I'm saying? And then I'll probably give him like $500 to invest and see what he can do with that shit. And then that's something less that I have to do, because I can make him a stock market guru and train him up, let him go in that direction. Then he can teach me stuff that he learned from that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gotta have skills. Everybody can't know everything. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has to have certain skills. And so when we combine our skills, we're a cohesive unit, and we can build and do shit together. You know what I'm saying? I grew up, my skills is with my hands. I can do, carpentry, sheetrock, painting, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm trying to get more on the business management, property management, ownership side, and see if I can like snatch up a couple rental properties. Never done it before, you know what I'm saying? So that's a learning curve for me to actually understand, equity and escrow and, property tax and all this other shit that comes with property ownership. And so I think it's about time, like I say, I'm in my mid-30s. I need to own something. I don't want to keep renting forever. Renting is kind of easy because you're not responsible for the home. So if pipes go bad or the roof leaks or, electrical problems, it's the homeowner's responsibility to get all that shit fixed. But at the same time, I've always been hesitant about owning property, because in America you never own property, is because this property tax. So you telling me, say for instance, I got one rich section of my family. I don't say rich because wealthy, we know what wealth is. Like, most niggas don't get wealthy. Jay-Z is wealthy. My people ain't that good off, but they pretty good. They bought a $800,000 house. $800,000. You know what I'm saying? This is a little mansion. This shit got like 6 bedrooms, seven bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 3-car garage, finished basement. I mean, big ass. It's a mansion. It's a little mini mansion. And you telling me after spending $800,000, I still gotta pay property taxes every year? Like you don't. No matter how much you pay for a property, like you never really own it, because if you don't pay your taxes, Uncle Sam and his cronies are gonna come take all your investments away. So you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So yeah, so and that's the weird shit. Like this country won't let you have shit. So you have to go somewhere else. And I deal with this one corporation, the Grand Rising group, and they specialize in industrial hemp production, and they're based in America, but they're buying land in uh, in Africa, in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? They don't even really want land in America because we know if we don't own the land, you're gonna charge us so much taxes for this shit. So, uh, damn, I think where he say he got the land at in Africa, yo, motherfucking damn, I gotta look that shit up again. But you know what I'm saying? Just purchasing land is weird, yo. Yeah. But everybody got to live somewhere, and everybody pays somebody to live. So I figure if I can just get a couple properties and have somebody pay me to live in them, you know what I'm saying, to get some residual income and stop living off of linear income, that'll be the best bet. So that goes all the way back to what I was saying the first time is, you know, Dr. Boyce Watkins really tried to help educate us on being entrepreneurs and businessmen, and he really kind of drives it towards the youth as well. Like the only way for us to actually sustain ourselves for, you know, generations to come is to educate our kids to be businessmen, to be creators of businesses, and not to go out and work for a business. You know, and if you can create some type of viable business, then your kids won't have to look for a job. You can just pass the business down to them. You know what I'm saying? Train them up, get them, like, once again, understanding the economics and the political issues that go with business management, and then they're good. They're golden. That's what I'm saying, yo. Like we gotta go to black countries and build our empires there, build our wealth up there. Oh shit. And it's not hard. It's just that every race has a global network, you know, except Africans. Like it don't matter where Asians are at on the globe. Jamaica has a high Asian population. Um, you know, America has a high Asian population. But no matter where Asians are at, they still, you know, communicate and do business with other Asian businesses globally. And like blacks, we don't have that infrastructure where, you know, American businesses buy products from Zimbabwe or Ghana or the Ivory Coast or Jamaica or, you know, the islands, and the Africans in America don't own enough, you know, substantial businesses where we're doing major exports of products to other African countries, and it's weird. Like, so we got to get our fucking shit together. And that was the whole thing that Marcus Garvey was trying to instill in us when he created the UNIA and started the Pan-African movement, is that, you know, globally we are a people still, no matter where we're at. If we're, you know, in South America Europe or wherever, we're still a global family, and we should structure our our businesses and our economy to work with each other, especially nowadays since we have the technology of the internet. I mean, there's way easier avenues of communication and to actually stay in contact with our own market. Yeah, we're really divided, you know, really divided. But once again, man, our kids are the solution. Our kids are our frontline weapon to solving our issues because maybe we're not asking the right questions or, you know, seeing different ways that we can ratify our some of these problems that we have amongst ourselves. But if we can train our youth to stay, you know, focused and inquisitive, and then that generation may come up with better solutions just because they had a better foundation and a better understanding at a younger age than we had. And that's always the fucking key is the instill that education in the youth, yo. Let's see. Oh, you know what? You know what was a really good debate? Um, Let me see if that's still in my history. Oh man, that was so long ago, but it was something that me and my uncle were just me and my uncle were to be that racist or not. Like, all right, so my uncle is white. You know, he's a 60-year-old white man from Wisconsin. So you can understand his mind frame. But he married my aunt, and they have two kids together. So you can understand that too. But so we were talking, and somehow, because he's really big into politics, and he's really opinionated, but he's really smart too. You know what I'm saying? And my uncle, yo, he's taught me a lot, yo. He's a really smart guy, yo. Really smart guy. But once again, just him. You know what I'm saying? And it's to a point where his brainwashing is starting to break down because he sees the major corruption, and he understands the elite oligarchy. And whereas when I was already up on this shit like 10 years ago, trying to tell him about the police state and trying to put him up on Alex Jones and the Bilderberg Group, and 9/11 was an inside job, and he was like, they'll never do that, and the terrorists did it, and Bin Laden this, and nowadays he don't really believe most of the mainstream hype anymore. I think he's come to the point where he even questions the true like events around the 9/11 conspiracy, and I don't think he really believes that official story. But it's taken him fucking years to get to this point, even though he's married a black woman and has had two kids with her. You know, he still kind of sees this. You know, we're all Americans. All we have to do is vote, and you know, and he was in the military for 27 years, retired from the military. So that's another layer to his personality. And even though he's a really good guy and all of this, somehow we were, you know, talking some politics, and I said something about the Buy Black movement, and he was like, "What?" I was like, yeah, buy black, and there's a couple who did My Black Year where they just you know only bought products from black businesses for an entire year, and uh, that sounds kind of racist. I'm for real, like, come on, man. How is that? How is that racist? So you're just gonna discriminate against white people and anything that's about all black? I mean, what if it was by white? I'm like, dude, like, I buy white anytime I buy anything. Samsung, uh, gambling, you know what I'm saying? My canvases, my easel, and anything I buy, got on Pumas, DC clothing, like anything I buy, I'm buying white. You know what I'm saying? It's almost not a choice, but we have to put it out there where people know that there is a choice. Where if you choose to spend your dollar, with a business that's owned by African Americans. How come I can't find this? Oh, you know what? I know how I can find it. It'll be in my, because he texted to me. Let me take a bathroom break real quick.
I'm the death, taking a dive, you're the only that's going to survive. I'm holding my heat, under my seat, flipping the vibe. Baseline, for all of my people moving around. You need a pound, all of my niggas holding it down. Cutting you up, the new shit, cracking you up, fucking you up. My black hole, sucking you up. Back in the level, money, market account. Lady street, and then I would just like to win now. Feeling my group, my niggas making you bounce. Others is bad, me and my niggas breaking the brand. Take it, and then we got you niggas holding your head and praising. But you know this ain't the game to us. Straight to up, that's when we getting dangerous. Come on, this. Now a nigga on the table, money market account. Lady street, and then I would just like to win now. Feeling my group, my niggas making it back. Others is spinning me and my niggas breaking the brand. Take it, and then we got you niggas holding your head and praising. But you know this ain't the game to us. Straight to up, that's when we getting dangerous. Come on, this.
Yeah, this was The Myth of Buying Black. Let's see.
The fully fictional yet recurrent convince the poor that they are poor because of their own poor spending habits, poor financial literacy, and poor work ethic. And in so doing, the myth encourages blame be shifted from those who create poverty to those who must suffer it. Since 2008, I've been trying to convince people of the myth of black buying power. With there now being some renewed focus on black methods of resistance, specifically recent calls to boycott and move money to black banks, the myth has renewed energy. Today, some comrades of mine who work with Sputnik Radio and WPFW 89.3 FM, both in Washington, D.C., invited me to their respective programs to talk about the myth of black buying power.
This is Voices with Vision. My name is Jennifer Bryant in the studio with Netfa Freeman, Garrett Harris, and our brother, Dr. Jared Ball. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
JB.
It's really good to be on Voices with Vision. I really appreciate all of your work, and it's good to be back.
So now this is some deep shit. This is a black dude trying to break down the myth of the the black buying power in America. So what I did was, like I said, me and my uncle went through this shit about, you know, we buy black, and that's racist, and this and that. So I sent them a link, yo. I sent them a link to, you know, some people talking about the program and why it was started and initiated, and why it's picking up so much speed, where people are actually purchasing products, you know, that we know for a fact are produced by black-owned businesses, and taking their money from whichever banks and trying to find locally black-owned banks to deposit their, you know, their savings in, and why that is important just to the black economy for one, and, you know, to black unity and black self-esteem for a overall purpose. For me is like, you know, just having that pride to say, man, we are doing stuff for ourselves and we can prove it. You know what I'm saying? My toothbrush, my deodorant, my toilet tissue, my shirt, my hat, my shoes are, you know, are made by people who look like me, you know, who have the same outlook on the world as I do, who come from a very similar background that I come from, and they're a successful business person. And so when my son goes shopping and he buys these products, he knows for a fact that there is a greater opportunity for him to be a successful businessman, you know. And so that plays a bigger role, more so than just, you know, oh, it's some racist shit, because it's not. But this guy is saying that the money that some statistics say is in the black community is not actually there, saying that, oh, there's $1 trillion, the black community has $1 trillion in spending power, and he tries to break down what that actually means and why there is so much poverty, unemployment, underemployment in the black community. And it's not because we're not buying black, but I mean, and the thing is, you have to listen to both sides of the argument to get a better understanding of the argument itself. And so I was even saying that to my uncle. My uncle seems to listen to only people he agree with. And so that was the thing. Like, I sent him a video clip on, you know, the positive reasons of buying black. And then he sent me a video clip on the myth of black buying power, like the complete opposite, you know. And so he wants to only listen to people that he agree with, and that's cool. But I like listening to the opposition. I like listening to the counterpoint, so to make sure that I really do stand firm on what I believe. Because if you, sometimes the counterpoint may convince you to change your opinion or your perspective slightly or wholeheartedly, but you won't know that until you listen to the opposition and see why they're opposing the information or the point that you're trying to make. So yeah, you know, and you can't box yourself in. You can't be narrow-minded, because I've like I said, I've listened to white supremacists who I agree with some of their rhetoric, you know, and some of the things that they say make sense, but you have to put yourself in their shoes, honestly. So we already know, for the most part, the European has dominated the world, and they don't want to give up their domination, and so they form this pseudoscience, religious, economic structure of white supremacy to maintain their supremacy throughout the world. Is it bad? Yeah, for everybody else. You know, even it's bad for most whites. But for the people in charge, is it good for them? Yeah. And I'll just reverse it. If it was, you know, if blacks ruled the world and we had a structure of black supremacy, would we really want that to change? No, nobody don't want that. If you're the boss at your job, do you want to get demoted and become the janitor and have the janitor get promoted and take your job over. Nah, nobody doesn't want that ever, you know? So you have to kind of look at it like that. And so there's certain points where you have to like agree, or for the most part at least agree to disagree. And I don't know, it'll help you to understand people better. It'll help you to formulate your own opinions and perspectives better, but you have to listen to the other side all the time. You always have to listen to the opposition. You know what I'm saying? You have to know your enemy. It's a must. You have to know what they think. It is, you know, being open-minded, being, you know, able to take information from any source. It takes a lot, you know what I'm saying? Once again, because it's going to make you question your own fundamental foundations, your moral ethics, and your values. But once again, if you hold strong, you can still kind of see the other side, you know, put the shoe on the other foot and still hold true to what you believe. Like, I can understand where you're coming from. I completely understand where you're coming from. I still feel the way I feel. Now, does that make me right and make you wrong? Not necessarily, you know? But does it mean we're going to disagree? Yes. You know? Now, how do we handle the disagreement? Am I going to give you power and authority completely over me just because I disagree with you? No. I don't think so.
PFW.
It's good to have I Mix What I Like back in the PFW studios.
I'm still having a little trauma about I Mix What I Like not being on Friday.
Me too, man. We, you know, there's you know, residual drama for us too. PTSD, I guess.
Right, PTSD. That's right.
Not doing the show anymore.
But luckily you're still around.
Oh yeah.
Now, you've done extensive research on this over the last several years. Mm-hmm. But you kind of give a Cliff Notes version at the top, and you give 3 points that kind of really crystallize your main argument around buying power. And I was wondering if you can discuss those.
Yeah, I did that just even recently because I was seeing it was some of the arguments were getting lost in it. But basically, buying power is a marketing phrase that refers only to the power of consumers to purchase what are strictly available goods. It is not about economic strength. It is not about wealth. It is not about asset holdings, etc. It's strictly a marketing, a PR firm phrase to help corporations target their advertising to different segments of the buying population. The other point was that the claim that African America has roughly $1 trillion in buying power is an entirely phony myth. As I say, like unicorns, democracy, or freedom. And is explained by looking behind some of the numbers that you know, reports claim amassed at $1 trillion, and we can talk about that in a moment. But those numbers just aren't real. Is the real point I'm getting at. And then finally, and most importantly to me, is that the myth of buying power works to deny capitalism as an economic and social order, and it denies the required inequality that comes with.
So now this guy is saying the myth of the buying power, but he's still condemning the system that impoverishes segments of the population. So it's I don't know. So you kind of gotta still agree with him on certain levels, yo.
And it's used. The myth is used to blame poor people for being poor. And this idea that if we just consumed better, we wouldn't be poor. And then it paints this picture of just an ignorant, backwards, impoverished group that is just, woefully, not taking advantage of all the freedom and equality that comes with the United States.
But to that last point, with all the ongoing kind of issue of state violence, the new correlation is that if we just consume better, we wouldn't be killed.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly.
And then, well, people would
That's not
argue
even-
us not that we wouldn't be killed if we spend better, but what they're saying, we would amass power that would hit the pockets of the people who are in influential places, and I guess then they would maybe leverage some of their influence and stop the state from killing us. I don't know. Maybe that's which to me, and I wanted you to, if you have something on that, but also a bit back to your when you were explaining about net wealth of populations and communities. It's in this time of increasing inequality, where you have so many people who are actually have the wealth equivalent to nations, to whole peoples, it makes that very skewed. So you can have this, so-called net wealth of a people, and it doesn't take into account actually, the people who are very rich, who are very wealthy, who are black, like the Oprahs or somebody, I don't even know how, and who skew their statistics just by the mere fact of what they have, and how much they have. And of course, those people end up really, I know people, this is not on the show for the politically faint of heart, but when it comes down to our struggle against capitalism and imperialism, they are our class enemies.
Welcome to By Any Means Necessary on Radio Sputnik in Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Eugene Puryear, and as always, we're your guide to connecting the political, social, and economic movements shaping the world around us. And today we are talking about, miss or maybe not miss. I guess I won't give you too much of a hint what's going to happen here, but about what's going on with black purchasing power and all the discussions that we've had in the wake of a lot of these incidents of police brutality about how black people should use their economic power. And I am very, very glad to be joined by the good doctor, Jared Ball. Check him out at imixwhatilike.org. I don't even know what other, you have so many other illustrious titles I could use, but I think that's a good one. Thank you so much for joining the show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and congratulations on the good work you're doing here with Sputnik.
Thank you.
Father and husband are the only titles that really...
Excellent, and a very devoted one at that. I think about this a lot because I think this happens almost every time there's a big mass upsurge in black protests in America. There's always people who come out and say, well, people shouldn't be protesting or whatever. And some people say, yeah, protest but,
right.
This is not going to work and so on and so forth. So what we have to do is just use our money as black people or other progressive people to say, instead of invest in Wells Fargo, put your money in a black bank or whatever. This Saturday coming up is the Black Banking Day. So I don't know, what do you think? Should everyone switch to a black-owned bank to end police oppression?
Well, they should maybe move their money to a black-owned bank or a quote-unquote more progressive bank to the extent that that's possible and not an oxymoron. But it's not going to end police oppression. It's not going to end poverty. It's not going to end inequality. All of those things, at least to a great extent, are the products of capitalism as an economy, an economic and social order. So they're not. So that's just one problem. The other problem that I think that we probably don't have time to really get into, that I would encourage people to check out and think more about, is just what is money? What is the function of money? What purpose does money play? And after all that they've written and all that they've brilliantly contributed to the analytical world, I think what Marx and Engels were most brilliant in assessing was that the social impact, the social nature of capitalism as an economy, the management of our behavior. So if we look at it that way, and then we look at it as a struggle over power, and look at it over a handful and increasingly decreasing number of people controlling our life experience, then we can understand a little more clearly that consumption or minimal investment based on what our economic strength really is not a solution to the many problems we face.
Right. I mean, I think it gets to sort of one issue in a way. I think is when we're talking about whatever we're buying from source, consumer goods. I mean, it actually doesn't seem like that big of a shift. I mean, if I am Nike, Reebok, whoever, and I make shoes, do I really care what outlet you bought them from, whether it was Target or, whatever?
Well, that's one of the problems that we face, especially with the comparisons that are often made to the Montgomery bus boycott as an example of the strength of this effort. As great as that effort was, and as a model as it can be, it has to be understood that was, one municipality's bus system that was attacked for over a year by a well-organized local group of black people. That is not that model. I think cannot be extended when we're talking about international conglomerates, when we're talking about chains that have reach all around the world, not just economically but politically, and that can sustain short-term boycotts, which are often what we're hearing called for, that don't have demands attached to them either, by the way, which is another major problem that we face.
Right.
And then, of course, if we look more carefully at what the actual economic strength of these communities actually is, we see that we're not in a position to upend all that is
Even a real number, but let's just say it is for the time being. Oh, there's $1 trillion in purchasing power. And I think people look at that kind of as if, there's just like $1 trillion in some offshore bank account. We just need to draw on it to use it. But that's not really what purchasing power is, right?
No, and this is one of the reasons, and I don't say this as a source of pride. I say this as a source of what I think is a major problem, that over the last years, I think I'm the only one I can find who has looked critically at what this notion of black buying power actually is. And by extension, we can attach that to any other community. And purchasing power or buying power is an entire myth. That $1 trillion that we hear trotted out, I've been hearing it my entire adult life. I've been hearing about, Black America would be in the top 10 or 20 countries, compared economically to other people if we looked at our buying power, this, that, and the third. But buying power or purchasing power is a marketing phrase that was designed for PR campaigns, designed for corporations to better target their advertising at consumers. Buying power is not a measure of economic strength. It is not a measure of income. It's not, and even more importantly, definitely not a measure of wealth. It is strictly a number created by PR firms for corporate advertising to assess the ability for consumers to buy what are available goods. And that's a key component, because we often hear, even from well-meaning people, well, if black people just stopped buying hair and shoes and rims and invested in stock and land, we'd be good.
Right.
Well, number of problems with that. One, there isn't a great amount of stock that's available for us to purchase. There isn't a great amount of land for us to purchase. I think that the recent studies show that I think 1%, something like 1% of the top 1% of white America owns more land than all black people combined. Ooh. And the reason we have that disparity is not because there's available land for purchase that we ignorantly refuse to buy. It's because 1% has all this land.
Right.
That's how it works. And wealth inequality and the power that's associated with it is generated from people who have it not sharing it and not allowing us to simply buy our way into it. And then the myth is then used to work against poor people, to say, particularly in this case, black people, well, you're ignorant and that's why you're poor. The American capitalist project is so wonderful and open that anyone who's smart, intelligent, and works hard can do that. And as I know and many of your listeners already know, working people, the poorest people are often the hardest workers, and one of the reasons why they're poor is because they're not paid well for the work that they produce, and they're not paid in comparison to the wealth that they generate for other people. So when we hear of buying power, we're intentionally cajoled into, or really we're encouraged to be misled into this belief that we are our own problem.
Now, part of what we're going to be discussing today is buying black and banking black. And before we go to our guest on the phone, I wanted to talk, how does that connect to this idea of black buying power?
Well, on the one hand, look, I'm not here to disrespect any attempt to unify and collectively work to some, somewhat of an advanced or progressive ideal, if not actuality. So I wouldn't say don't move money. Killer Mike has had this, $800,000 now have been deposited in a black-owned bank in Atlanta, I believe, or something, So on the one hand, okay, great. But on the other hand, I don't want to also reaffirm the myths of capitalism, which suggests that again, investment and spending and savings is a way to economic equality. That's just not how capitalism is designed to work. The other part is, if you just look at it, and I was looking at some, just trying to be prepared for today's show, I was just looking at some of the research around black banks and their strength, and a lot of what we see, I was just looking at something, we can bring it up a little later if time permits, but one woman who runs a black-owned bank in, I believe, Illinois, was talking about the struggles of that bank exist because of the struggles of the black community. To have a strong black bank, you have to have black people making money, investing, depositing checks, saving money. And when you have black people who are losing jobs, we have the longest long-term unemployment rate since 1942. We have, the notorious never-ending double the unemployment rate and underemployment rates and all these other issues, and then underpaid for the work that we do. And being, last hired, first fired, all of these structural realities of being a black working person in this country impact the ability for black people to save and invest. So again, black people don't have the income and the so-called disposable income to save and invest, et cetera, and to turn over to banks. So when black people suffer through loss of jobs, loss of income, lower wages, et cetera, it affects the banks that they would be depositing their money into anyway. Then the other part of it is, on the flip side of that, is what value is it ultimately to the collective of the community to invest in a bank? Because what does a bank do? Even a black-owned bank is going to invest in the same Wall Street stock market that is turning around and oppressing the working people in this country and around the world. It's going to, it's not going to turn, it's only going to be able to invest by law. By the fiduciary requirements of stockholders, et cetera. By law, it's only going to be able to invest in things that are going to bring a rate of return on their investment, which is not black business, which is not, black people being given money to buy homes or anything like that. That's not going to give the return, because as we see, when black people buy a home, just the fact that a black person bought the home, it devalues the property. So this idea that even home ownership can be a pathway to equanimity is also mythological. So anyway, that's part of at least the problem here when we're talking about whether it's black banking or the issue of boycotts, which I know has come up again, and this idea that if we just stop spending where we're spending, that we'll be able to turn the tides of an empire. It's just not how it really works.
And speaking of boycotts, a lot of people that bring up the whole buying power and moving your money, it's because of their understanding of the civil rights movement, right? And the boycotts that took place back then, and how they view it as successful. And I don't know to what degree that's true or how that applies to today, but I feel like that's where a lot of people are coming from. It's like, well, King and them, they boycotted, or civil rights movement.
They boycotted one municipality's bus system for more than a year.
Right.
And it was an incredibly successful organizing effort.
No question. But what people are comparing it to are boycotts of international conglomerates.
Exactly. Who
don't need. If black people, and then they don't even attach demands to it. I'm not seeing demands attached to it. They're saying just don't shop at Target or don't buy Coca-Cola for a month or two. Okay, neither one of those companies will miss any of that. Even if every one of the 40 million Americans in this country stopped buying for that amount of time, it would not have the negative impact. And of course, if you don't attach a demand to it and come right back a couple months later, they'll just write it off and keep on moving. Or they'll just charge somebody more in China or India for their products that they're selling over there, or exploit the workers more over there, just depress their wages. So these are sort of the trick bags that we're in. And my point in this black buying power thing is to say we need to, for me, it was, let me find one toehold in one of these myths that we can then hopefully draw people into to deeper realities and conclusions and understandings about what we need to do to get out of this.
And one of the goals for this show, and we've been really unpacking some of the myth of black buying power, which is a long conversation that we're going to have for ongoing conversation. But with Voices with Vision, this is a show about revolutionary action. And so we do want to point to not just what economic power isn't, but what economic power is. And so one of the things that folks have been lifting up is the idea of banking black. And so we're going to speak with B. Doyle Mitchell Jr., who is the president and CEO of Industrial Bank, the DC's Black Bank. And so we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to go deeper into, Dr. Ball, what you think economic power is. So let's, I believe we have Mr. Mitchell on the phone. Mr. Mitchell, are you there?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Thank
Great.
you for having me on the show.
Yeah, thank you for being on.
Now, we've got people listening from all over the world. Can you just give us a little background on the history of Industrial Bank?
Sure. The Industrial Bank was founded by my grandfather and 8 other businessmen in 1934 at the height of the Great Depression at 11th and U Street, Shaw neighborhood in Northwest Washington, D.C. There was a thriving black entertainment, business, and residential community, and there was no bank there. There was a bank, but it closed during the banking holiday, and he saw a need for there to be one to help finance homes and, some cars and businesses, and they raised some capital and got resounding support, and they opened in August of 1934. Grew profitably until my father took over in the 50s. He ran the bank until he passed away in 1993. At that time, the bank was roughly $150 million in total assets, profitable, very sound, good capital, and I took over at that time at the ripe age of 30. I turned 31 a couple of weeks later, and since then we've expanded to 8 branches, 2 in Prince George's County, Maryland, and we are still profitable. We did not lose any money during the recession. We only repossessed 3 homes since 2008, I believe, and we still have strong capital levels, good regulatory ratings, outstanding CRA rating, and we are a CDFI. We became a CDFI somewhere around 2008, 2009. It's a community development financial institution, and we're still going strong today.
Now, what we've been discussing is black economics, specifically in black economics in this political moment where we're seeing increasing state violence and repression in black communities. And there's been many calls for people to buy black and bank black. I saw a post on Instagram with the hashtag Black Transfer Challenge, where they're calling for folks to go to Industrial Bank all on the same day, July 23rd at 9 a.m., this group HBCU Wall Street, to open accounts with Industrial. Have you seen an increase in new accounts as a result of this?
Yes, we have. The activity has been phenomenal. It's been exponentially greater than what we normally see on any given day or any given week. We're actually still counting the number of accounts. It's happening so fast and so much, which is a wonderful thing. We're trying to keep up with processing all this activity. So we have seen a lot of activity. We are totally grateful for it. That being said, let me just say this. This is what African Americans should be doing anyway. And there have been a number of efforts over the years that have called for African Americans to, for blacks to support black businesses and support black banks. And we need to do it anyway. And if the shooting stops tomorrow, we need to keep this going. And here's the reason why. We have tremendous spending power, but it does us no good because we spend it outside of our community. The average time that a black dollar stays in the black community is 6 hours. So you get paid on Friday at 5, and all of our money essentially is out of our community by Friday at 11. Once we hit the club, it's gone.
So can I, Mr. Mitchell, if I can chime in, and this is Netford Freeman. So given that, so you said this is the reason, what you're outlining is the reason why we should continue to buy black and have our investments in black banks. And you said this would, I guess the implication is that it will benefit us as a community. And so let's get to that direct benefit, because, if we look at the class disparities, I know a lot of people, they don't even have bank accounts, and not because they're being irresponsible, they just don't have the money for it. And so in what ways, more directly, are there interest-free loans that we could have, or is there grants that the banks and the businesses could make to projects that would have a long-term impact on the most affected, the most poverty-stricken people who really don't have anything to give into banks or anything like that. But that's really the crux of our oppression.
It's a good question. Let me explain. Maggie Anderson wrote a book in 2009 called Our Black Year. I suggest everybody get a copy of it. Every black person ought to have it in America, because what she and her husband did is say, I'm just buying black for an entire year, and they were amazingly successful. It was very difficult, and it required a lot of sacrifice. Sometimes you had to drive farther, sometimes you had to pay a little more, but they did it. It's my black on black business Bible. So everybody should get that. Maggie Anderson, Our Black Year. She wrote this in 2009. In that book, they had Kellogg Business School that reduced to statistics a lot of data that we as African Americans that are around this conversation need to be having all the time. So Kellogg Business School determined that we only spend 3% of our income with black businesses. And then what they determined is what happens if we go from 3 to 10. Maggie's quote is 3 to 10, what's your spend? If we only go to 10%, we create 1 million black jobs overnight. Now let that just resonate.
I really want to know how that does that. How does that translate?
Well, we're going to unpack this in a second. We do have to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back with Mr. B. Doyle Mitchell Jr. from Industrial Bank and Dr. Jared Ball from I Mix What I Like. Now, we've got a lot of ideas converging, and so we're really going to have to unpack this in the second half of the show. We'll be right back. You're listening to Voices with Vision.
You're listening to Voices with Vision. My name is Netfa Freeman, and we're in the studio with Dr. Jared Ball of Mix What I Like, and we're speaking. We have on the line Mr. Doyle Mitchell Jr. He's the president and CEO of Industrial Bank.
Yes, B. Doyle Mitchell Jr.
B. Doyle Mitchell Jr. And so you were before we went to break, you were explaining the fact that if we raised our spending power by up to $10 10%, then they would increase the number of jobs in the community.
1 million jobs.
1 million jobs. And I was actually, the question was how, if you could lay out maybe how that would do that.
Well, basically, if we spend more money with black businesses would grow. And when they grow, they would have to hire more people. And the tendency among minorities is to hire people that look like you. And so, if Industrial Bank was twice its size, and we wouldn't necessarily double our workforce, but out of the people that we did hire, I'm sure a vast majority of those would be African American.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, for me, the question, it goes back to this, what I'm calling the myth of black buying power, that one, there isn't this amount of money that I think is often attached as $1 trillion. It doesn't exist in the way that I think people think that it exists when they hear we have $1 trillion. There isn't a pot of $1 trillion that we just choose to spend foolishly. We buy what is available to us, and then of course these numbers are themselves questionable. So, I mean, this notion of adjusting 10%. One, the question is, it's hard particularly for working black people, to find black-owned businesses that will satisfy their consumer needs, especially for regular day-to-day necessities. And
can I jump in? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have to jump in.
Okay.
The trillion, 1.2, 1.3. The trillion is our GDP. It's our income.
That's incorrect. That's incorrect. That's not how those numbers are created, and that's part of what
how they created.
And then if we look at the research behind that number, we see that the number is itself entirely fraudulent.
Right. Now that's key. Get into that, please.
So what I started doing in 2008 is just trying to look more carefully at where this number was coming from, because when you look at the studies that come out all the time from the Economic Policy Institute, or from reported in Socialist Worker, or from the Party for Socialism and Liberation, or or the Fairness and Equality, United for Fair Economy group that produce these reports every year about the state of Black America's economy, we see things like the net median household wealth for Black America is at most $11,000. The median net worth of a working age woman of color is $5. Black America, the Economic Policy Institute says that Black America is in a quote permanent recession, meaning that no matter how well the economy is doing, Black people, because of how our position in the economy, never do well. So when you look at all these numbers, I'm saying, well, how is it then that we have this $1 trillion? And then a couple of years ago, they came out and said that I think in Native America has $100 billion in buying power. And you're like, wait a minute. The average Native American is like on $2 a day. Right. So how is it that they have all this incredible buying power that they're just, again, as we're encouraged to believe, foolishly not spending appropriately? Or because we lack financial literacy, is the catchphrase is often used. So when I started looking at some of the numbers, I said, you start looking at the reports, and all the reports go back to almost the same report. Initially, it came from the Selig Center, which produced this study several years ago, and continues to produce studies on this. And when you look at how they determine, well, Black buying power or buying power, they did things. The variables include, for instance, Black population growth. The Black population is increasing, so therefore automatically that means that we have an increased consumer power that people mistakenly mean is economic strength. Increased job opportunities was what they claim. Now, if you look at the situation for Black America and employment and unemployment or underemployment or long-term unemployment, the numbers don't really bear that out. Or they would say that there's more education coming for Black America, that more education equals more income, more that you can spend, so on and so forth. But my point is that as I read through these, as people will hear them, they're not tied to any actual number or actual amount of money that Black people have. They're all like spurious, vague. My favorite one is that they said only 8.1% of Black America is over the age of 65, at which point at which time is considered a career pinnacle, and at which point wage increase decelerate, whereas whites have 13.5% over 65, meaning that, according to this logic, they have a weaker buying power because once you're older, you make less money and you spend less. But of course, the problem here is that Black people die before the age of 65. The life expectancy for Black people is about 66, 67 years old. So we're not living as long. So you can't then say that we're economically stronger because we're dying earlier is really what they're trying to say. It doesn't really compute. Other ones include, Black people, it says here, spend more than non-Blacks on natural gas, electricity, telephone service, and footwear, and a higher proportion of their money on groceries, housing, and women's and girls' clothing. Now, how this generates to actually economic power because we spend more on trinkets or what Fanon might have called the colonial goods that are left for us to purchase doesn't make any sense. And then one of my favorites is they put out in the study in 2008 was that Black home ownership was going to go up. That this was a sign that Black economic strength was increasing, or Black buying power rather was increasing, which is, as they would have us believe, is Black economic strength. And of course, as we saw with the wipeout of the housing market, et cetera, and the horrible hit that this meant for Black and brown people. And so my point is this $1 trillion is not based on, now, we just had a conversation with the head of the industrial bank here in D.C., who I think is under the misguided assumption, as he said on air, that, well, he was saying, well, wait a minute, our Black buying power is the extension, is determined by the, as he said, the gross domestic product of Black America. Well, there are a lot of flaws in that. So as he said, well, if I make $100,000 and you make $100,000, well, that means the two of us have $200,000 in spending power. Well, obviously that's not true. For dealings that go into this, that anywhere, depending on which studies you look at, working people and Black people in particular spend 70 to 90% of their income on just housing. So that doesn't mean that we have a lot of money then to invest in stock and buy land and all this other stuff. And of course, as a gross number, it's not talking about after taxes. It's not talking about, again, after we So their argument is, well, if we take that gross number and we can then say, well, after you pay all your bills, then you go out and spend whatever it is. Yeah. And then they come up with this $1 trillion number, which, as I'm saying here, is not based on anything real, and it's based on gross numbers of our income, which doesn't really give you an accurate look at anyone's actual economic power. Certainly beyond the ability to be a consumer, which is really all we're talking about. And there's no revolutionary path through consumption. I think famously something about owning means of production is the way it has
Indeed. Owning the means of production. As Zach De La Rocha at Rage Against the Machine said that I always like, he said, I don't want the G-Rod, I want the machines that are making them. And I think that's what it gets into.
For the purpose of this conversation, what do African Americans not have a lot of income?
Correct. I'm saying that Black Americans do not have. Correct. I'm saying that Black Americans do not have this tremendous amount of income that can be spent in any way that Black people want. A lot of what Black people and all working people do is they spend on what is available to them, and they spend based a lot of it on credit. It's not even based on income because wages have remained flat, and the way that since the 70s, and the way that the corporate capitalist world has adjusted for that is to offer more loans through credit card debt. So that's why you have the average Black household has about $7,000 in credit card debt, which puts them just about the credit card debt is about $4,000 less than what the median net household worth of a Black family is, which is I think just about $11,000. So there is not this pot of money that's being spent that would generate this kind of buying power.
There's a lot of money that goes through our hands. That's the point.
No, but the other part of that, to this point you're raising about going through the hands, is that there aren't the amount of Black businesses that can accommodate Black consumer needs. Number one, and then the other part of it is that there's no. I think the historical research says much to the opposite. Much like the research that Earl Afari Hutchinson did back in the '60s, since the '60s, showing that there is no correlation between an increase in Black business and Black even banks and the collective uplift of Black people. So we may create a few more Black wealthy individuals, but we're not going to create some that's going to
poor, and all of this is not going to help, and so therefore we should not try it. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not saying not to try it. I'm saying that there's not an answer to the problem that is created by capitalism and primarily by capitalism and its impact on working people. In this case, particularly Black working people.
So I could definitely tell you that if we redirect our income to Black businesses, and it does take time and effort to find them and help grow them. It's not an easy solution. It doesn't happen overnight. But they are out there, and the more efforts we use to support them, find them, support them, and help them to grow will make a difference in our community. But we're using this as an excuse as to someone who makes $35,000 or $50,000 not to even try to find Black businesses or not to even open up an account at a Black bank.
No, I'm saying don't blame them, because if you're only making $35,000, which is the average salary of a working person across races, so it's lower for Black people actually, and we're talking about communities that are spending upwards of 70, in some cases 90% of their income just on housing. There isn't there isn't leftover money for buying a lot of different things and supporting a lot of different businesses. So that's part of the problem.
Well, I just wanted to go back to an earlier point. So, Mr. Mitchell, you said that there's been a marked increase in the number of new accounts.
Yes.
How does that actually translate in community? Where does that money go? How does it benefit Black folks in D.C.? And I will say that I've seen Industrial Bank. Industrial Bank has, funded events. I live in Southeast, and I've seen Industrial Bank sponsor events, and I've seen Industrial Bank at-home buyers fairs for targeted at African American populations east of the river. So I know you guys are doing work, but how does it actually translate to, and I think what Dr. Ball is pointing to, not just individual wealth, but community wealth?
Yes, but I just have to say, I think it's a ridiculous notion that we do not have some money, each and every person almost, that we can redirect to Black businesses, and the power of that nationally can be tremendous. However we determine income and so forth, it can be tremendous. Now, how does it help the community and individuals as far as Industrial Bank is concerned? I have to tell you about what we do. And we do a whole bunch of things, some of them you already mentioned, to help our communities. And obviously, if we are larger, we can do a whole lot more. And pound for pound, African American banks do a whole lot more for African Americans in terms of housing, pound for pound, than any banks in the country. If you want to see FDIC study on minority banks, it's right in there. But we are a CDFI, Community Development Financial Institution, which means 60% of our total assets must be reinvested in low and moderate income areas. Now, we're certified by the U.S. Treasury Department. There's applications we have to fill out to be certified and recertified. So, and Industrial Bank is not much different than other black banks around the country. So I can kind of speak for all minority banks, but in particular African American banks. So as we speak now, we are continually making loans in low and moderate income census tracts. Pound for pound, we make loans to low and moderate income individuals, and we invest in the community. We support nonprofits to provide services in the community that are badly needed. We go out and we spend community hours on a number of things. We do financial literacy in our community, the African American community. We log over 1,000 hours in community service and financial literacy training in our community. What we do on a day-to-day basis is when someone comes in the bank and opens up an account or they apply for a loan, many times we have to walk them through the process. We're going to explain things to them that they may not readily understand. A lot of our customers are very sophisticated. They understand that. They don't need that service. But sometimes a widow may need that service, and we're going to spend the time and we're going to hold their hands on through the process. Why? Because we really care. We care about our customers, and we outcare any bank in town, I can guarantee it. And when we on the loan side, we want to make loans. And so we are always spending time trying to figure out, is there another way we can structure this loan? We can structure this deal. Okay, they have a 580 credit score. Is there a good story behind this? Are they telling me the story? Do I think they're honest about them telling me the story? And then can I run credit reports and do my own analysis to in some way, shape, or form verify that story? That doesn't mean every time we can make that loan, but we do try hard and we do make exceptions in many cases. And while people think we're conservative, we have done a lot of loans that other banks will not do because we care. And you can't get that from just any institution around. So as we get larger, and right now we've made loans to the point where we need deposits because the market has been so good. We've been making so many loans in our community. We need deposits to help fund them. And so these deposits are going to go right back into our loan portfolio. It's going to go right back into us doing what we do as a CDFI. It's going to go right back into our commitment to provide community support and financial literacy every day. And I can guarantee it's going to go to good value right in our community.
And so we're talking with Mr. B. Doyle Mitchell Jr., President and CEO of Industrial Bank, the black bank in D.C., been around for a very long time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Voices with Vision.
The other thing about it is it just strikes me as a little ahistorical, too. I mean, people act as if, like, oh, we just need to get land, like no one ever thought of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you had the whole Reconstruction confiscation movement, which was crushed. You had revolutionary movements like Republic of New Africa and others who were trying to get the land. They were crushed. You even had, like, basically, I don't want to say mainstream because they were, good progressive people. But you look at what Shirley and Charles Sherrod did with the large cooperative farms. You look at what the black farmers have gone through. And the USDA colluded to make sure you couldn't get credit, couldn't market your goods. And so, I mean, to some extent, it seems like we're underselling the fact that, the capitalist system is set up in such a way, it's racially stratified in such a way, and that once you get to a certain level of success in challenging that, they're going to try to crush you.
Of course. I mean, again, I agree with all of that, and I would encourage people. In my classes, we always joke, don't take my word for it. go prove me wrong. And I think in the process of that exercise, it will increase our understanding and increase our struggle and take us to a new level. So that's really all I'm advocating here by challenging this myth of buying power. If you think that we can collectively put money together and buy land that's going to turn into something that's going to be good for the community, absolutely we should try that. I don't think that that's the way it's going to work, but if you're convinced of that, let's do it. I will even invest in it. And when it doesn't work, let's get back together and we will go into another level of struggle. The other thing that happens with this is that, BET came back with, Black Entertainment Television, that is, came back with their own so-called study to support this a couple of years ago. That it was based on just 80,000 surveys of black consumers and what they're shopping. So they basically said, well, X amount of black people, 80,000 black people spent X amount of dollars during the holiday season on whatever. And they extrapolate from that to say, well, then we must be spending this amount of money, which means that we then must have this much money, blah, blah, blah. And what it always ends up leaving out is, again, as I said at the top, what are the available goods? So of course you can use your little bit of money to buy shoes or a shirt, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to have you coalesce all of that into something that will get you land or stock. Right. It also doesn't account for how much people are buying on credit, and this was something that came up in the research here, where according to the Selig Center, they don't count in terms of buying power. They don't count money you borrowed in previous years. But it does not mean that they do not count money that you borrowed this year towards buying power, which of course you must have, which is why when we look at the credit card numbers, black people have, I think, the median net household credit card debt of about $6,000+, meaning that almost all of more than half of the median household net worth is tied up in debt to a credit card. But what can you buy with a credit card? Now, we can go buy some groceries, we can buy a couple shirts, we can buy some shoes even.
Not a factory.
You're not buying a factory, you're not buying massive amounts of stock, you're not buying, that's exactly the point. And so my point in all of this is to say, it's not to say we have no power, it's not to say that we can't do anything. It is only to say that this myth of black buying power is being used to work against progressive struggle. It's worked to demean poor people, and it's also, if anything, meant to benefit the class element within our communities that would make a little bit of money if we bought with them and invested with them. And that's all well and good, but there's no evidence that I've seen, maybe you can help me with this, that shows that method of purchase or investment helps the collective.
No, I mean, I think all we have to do is look back at segregated America, where quote-unquote black capitalists had essentially a captive market on a lot of things. Insurance especially is a big one, banking is another one. And at those times, and if we go back and we read St. Clair Drake, if we read W.E.B. Du Bois, it wasn't like black people were really, making loads. I mean, we weren't actually doing that well at all. And in fact, I mean, certainly median-wise, black people are probably doing better economically, although I hate those year-on-year, decade-on-decade comparisons. But nevertheless, it wasn't as if, there were actually fewer black billionaires then than there are now. So it has so many different fallacies. It just doesn't even really understand the way, as you've been pointing, that capitalism actually is working and that we buy goods produced by other people and stocks and bonds. It just exists in sort of a reality where most people are relatively ignorant about how the economy works, and it speaks to the same thing. It's just like the whole the economy should be run like a family or whatever.
We would need a lot of time to fully unpack all of the ideas that came up during this show, but we appreciate you for coming on and starting the conversation.
Very much, and I apologize if I seem a little overly passionate about this issue.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, but I grew up doing this, and to be truthful, while I grew up doing this, until I really saw the sacrifice that the Anderson family put into supporting black businesses. And you can go to the empowermentexperiment.com and she has a list of some black businesses on her website. She's working on a Maggie's list so that you can go there and find out where all these black businesses are. The U.S. Black Chamber has an app, U.S. Black Chambers Inc., which is a collection of black chambers around the country run by Ron Busby. They have an app that can show you where certain black businesses are. It's going to take a lot of effort on our part to find and support black businesses. But I think if people were willing to die walking over a bridge and get beaten so that we could be at this point, I think we should be willing to make the sacrifice and drive a little longer, pay a little bit more,
right,
and be patient.
And like we said, we're not telling people not to do it. In fact, I think if we really get behind it wholeheartedly, we'll see. Time will tell. What is the solution?
That would be my point. To full-heartedly support this and other endeavors, and then I would encourage your guest to take me up on my offer to build with him after this show, because this notion of buying power is totally misunderstood and it doesn't exist.
And I think so many things came up, and we would need like 15 shows to really unpack this, but we got some of the I think what really came up was a lot of the class dimensions, as you mentioned during the break, Dr. Ball, about Black economics, some of the class dimensions of Black economics. There was that often quoted stat about how long the Black dollar circulates in the Black community. I mean, there's so much that needs to be unpacked.
Well, look, I encourage people to check out what I've done at imakeswhatilike.org. I really want people to check out the research. I am convinced that through the research that I'm correct, and that, as we heard from your other guests, that there's a great degree of misunderstanding from even those who claim to work in this field about what buying power is, how it's generated, how these numbers are developed. And this is not to disrespect him or anyone else, but it's just to make the point that we don't know how these numbers are generated.
But I think that it is important. So what does economic power look like? What does Black economic power look like?
Black economic power, it looks like poor people using the whatever resources they have to the best of their ability, but I don't think that there's much economic power to be had outside of real organization. So we have to organize, and then
pulling our resources together and making like cooperative communal type projects.
Exactly.
Forget funding, but actually address the fundamental human needs that people have: feeding, clothing, housing. And this doesn't have to be finance capital. I mean, we really need to harness some stuff here.
Oh, and for those that may not know, I do cooperative development work.
And
I just want to be clear. I'm just raising the question with Dr. Ball.
And I'm sorry, I should have answered that way. And I would just encourage people to look at them as the Panthers used to describe as survival programs, not solutions to our problem. And I think will be best served by that. Thanks again, everybody.
We're going to end it a little KT and then fall back up after that if you're not for the liberation of the people.
And I just want to reiterate again,
please, last minute or so.
Just to be very clear that this term buying power is not about real economic strength. It is a wholly created phrase from the PR, marketing, commercial world meant to drive advertising dollars to catch consumers. It has nothing to do with what our ability is economically or our strength is. We are really materially worse today than we were, as according to United for Fair Economy, than we were in '68. And I think that is also a false standard, because that's only saying we're improving based on the condition of enslavement.
That's an unbelievable bar, and I think that is going to do it. That's a great place for us to leave it. And special thanks to Dr. Jared Ball of Morgan State University, as well as imakeswhatilike.org. Please check it out. A lot more on the Black buying power myth if you're interested. This is By Any Means Necessary on Radio Sputnik. I'm your host, Eugene Puryear.
By any means necessary.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He's trying to point out the myth of Black buying power, but he doesn't really refute the fact that we still need organization, we still need to unify, and yeah, we still need to, buy Black as much as we can.
I mix what I like.
It was a really good talk, and once again, hearing just a different argument, a different viewpoint.
I mix what I like for all your relevant social media. I'm Jared Ball, happy to be your host. And for this conversation, I'm very excited to be talking to a longtime friend and comrade, Dr. Leslie Alexander, who, among other things, is a professor in the Department of African American and African Studies at The Ohio State University, where she specializes in 19th century Black culture and political consciousness. She teaches courses on slavery, resistance movements, and historical accuracy in film. Perfectly appropriate, obviously. And she is also, among other things, author of African or American, Black Identity and Political Activism in New York City, 1784 to 1861, which I do want to bring up in a few minutes because I think what you did in that book is necessarily relevant to our forthcoming conversation, which is about Dr. Alexander's most recently published review of Nate Parker's film, Birth of a Nation, in The Nation magazine, titled Birth of a Nation is an Epic Fail. Dr. Alexander, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It's really good to see you.
Likewise. Been too long. And not enough time to get into all the things that we need to get into, obviously. But let me just start with the big, broad question for those who may not have read it or want to just know simply more about why the film, as you call it, is an epic fail.
Right. Well, from my perspective, the real problem with the film, and honestly the thing that really drove my desire to write the article, was all of the buzz that I was hearing about the film, and people kept talking about how they were really excited to hear the real story of Nat Turner, and they were really excited to, hear the history behind the rebellion, behind Nat Turner's life. People actually seemed really caught up and passionate about the idea of finally hearing Nat Turner's real story. And of course, as a historian, whenever I hear that, that always makes me cringe a little bit, because we all know that a Hollywood film is not the same thing as a documentary. So a Hollywood film is never going to be perfectly historically accurate. And I want to be clear about the fact that I get that too, even as a historian. So,
and documentaries aren't necessarily either, by the way.
Exactly.
But your point is well taken. Yeah.
Right. So, nothing is ever historically accurate. Historical sources always have problems. Documentaries have problems. So I never go into a Hollywood film hopeful that it's going to be perfectly historically accurate. But in this case, Nat Turner's story, as a person,
Buffett, oh my God. Yeah, I wrote down a list this morning of shit I need to do, and it's raining.
But also as the leader of what we now know, of course, was the bloodiest slave rebellion in U.S.
So, yeah, my list might not get finished today. I swear, I don't know, something about that rain, bro. I just don't want to go out in the rain. I might get my hair. Anyway, I think that shit is fucking with my Wi-Fi. It's not like a major storm or nothing, but it's really, really, really cloudy out. Like, goddamn. It looks like it's nighttime outside. And that's another reason I started the stream so early. I was like, man, let me get up in the studio, get some painting done so I can go run these errands today. Psych. Man, I might just chill in the house all day, dog. No lie. Chill in the house all day. I gotta look over these photographs. So I got all the pictures off my camera from my photo shoot the other day. I got them on the laptop and I emailed them to the model so she can look at them. And now I just gotta narrow it down to which one I want to actually use and see if I need to Photoshop it a little bit or anything. And then plus I wanna start this next painting. Well, I already got the underpainting done, but where did I put that shit? Oh, it's over there. I wanna work on this next painting of these teapots. I said I have a member show at the gallery coming up. And I'm determined to sell something. So I gotta paint teapots. Teapots I normally sell. I'll paint some teapots, put a nice little price on it, something cheap, something reasonable, Everybody keeps telling me to do that. Man, you gotta paint stuff they gonna buy. Yeah, but I got all these cool ideas. I got these other images I want to see. But they ain't gonna buy that. Well, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them in the ass. I don't give a goddamn if they don't want to buy that shit. I'ma still paint it. But I like the teapots anyway. I saw the photograph. I was like, that's nice. You know what? I might paint that. So I already started working on it. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Most of the time, it do. If I paint like a still life and put like a little cheap price tag, you know, like a little $500-600, somebody will buy that shit. We'll see. And then, if no one doesn't buy it, no biggie. Still a masterpiece. Another masterpiece added to my collection. It's no biggie. You seen that Basquiat painting? That shit sold for $106 million. Old black dude from New York done sold a painting. Well, he's dead, but still. Young black dude from New York, artwork worth $106 million in the auction. Motherfuckers like, I want it. Like, I want it more than you want it. 106, bitch. All right, you got it. You have it. I ain't got it 106 for an original Basquiat. It's like, God damn. When I'm dead, that's how motherfuckers gonna be fighting over my shit, yo. I'm telling you. That's a Travis Prince original? $10 million. 10, 15 million. 22 million. Oh shit, they gonna be clamoring over each other, yo. They gonna be clamoring over each other. Then you gonna get those art thieves, people who try to steal that shit, and then you gonna get the forgers. You know, motherfuckers try to fake my signature. This is the original Prince, circa 2001. Yeah, really? This looks like a fraud. Then they gonna be taking it on Pawn Stars and shit. Well, not Pawn Stars, whatever show they have on there, trying to authenticate my signature and shit. I can see it now. Hey man, you gotta have dreams, man. You know what I'm saying? Even if the dreams are, you know, after you're dead, hey, whatever. Basquiat was selling paint when he was alive, though. He was selling paint for like 30 grand. That's how I want to get it. I'll be over there in Europe, chilling, you know what I'm saying? Smoking some European buds. Even the Europeans probably got that Afghan. But anyway. Oh, just brought a Prince original. $32,000. Like, word? Oh, shit. Selling painting $32,000. All I gotta do is sell one painting a year. That's it. I'm chilling. do some gallery shows. You know, teach some classes. I'll be chilling. Damn these clouds. Damn you, clouds. You need to be fluffier. Fluff yourself up. The fuck, clouds? These clouds act like they don't know what fluffy is. You looking fluffy now? Huh? Do you feel fluffy? You gotta feel fluffy. You just can't look fluffy. You gotta feel fluffy. You know? Because clouds are soft, like evaporated water and dirt mixed together, hovering in the stratosphere. Yeah. And they're soft and fluffy. And I'm really not liking some of the blues. Damn it. I don't know what the blues. I don't like the blues. I don't like those blues. Come on. You tell that ain't been open in a while. Maybe. Just maybe if I use this blue. Ooh, I bent the picture. Use a little bit of this blue. Ooh, that's so pretty. You know what? The blue might not be the problem. Yo, I wish it would stop fucking raining, yo. I need to go do stuff. Shit. Maybe it's not the blue. Well, what is it then? I knew you were going to ask that. It might be the white. The white, yes. It might be the white. Right? Right, the white, right? So, yep. Yep. Are you bored yet? Are you bored yet? Are you bored yet? Fucking quiet as shit in here, ain't it? Yeah, I know it. Huh? Is it too quiet? I don't care, man. Honestly. I don't mind hearing myself talk. So what? Silence. Tastes like nothing. Ooh. Silencio. It might be the white. Boy, that damn cloud look fluffy now, bitch. Told you to fluff yourself up. Told you to fluff up, bitch. Some fluffer nutter. You know how I like my clouds. I like my clouds fluffy. Thick and fluffy. If you like them old thin little flat, those stratus clouds, I like cumulus clouds, thick fluffy clouds. Some of them clouds ain't fluffy enough for me. Fluff them up some. What, you don't like fluffy clouds? Damn, PlayStation. That PlayStation keep trying to turn off on me. Firewire. You know, shit, fluffing up my clouds. Just fluffing around on this rainy day. You know, trying to keep it fluffy, baby. Keep it fluffy. Ain't nothing flat around here. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing flat. Ain't nothing flat going on around here. Take that flat shit somewhere else, yo. I'm telling you now. Don't come around me with that flat shit. I'm gonna let you know right off the top, yo. Your clouds is flat. They don't even look real. They don't look fluffy enough. You know? What do you mean my clouds ain't fluffy? Look at them. Look at my clouds. Look at your clouds. Fluffy, flat. We don't want the flat shit. No flat clouds. No flat clouds. Oh. Alright. Y'all ready to hear something else? Put some music on or something? My man said you lost it. That's how I be, dog. When the music go off, boy, my mind wanders into some strange locations. And you know what? There's never like a caution sign or a danger sign or a beware sign or nothing. My mind just goes straight in that bitch. Then I look at myself like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I be like, nigga, I got lost. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking about one thing, and then I seen this other thing, started thinking about that. And before I know it, I talk about fluffy ass clouds, dude. Shit. You know? It be like that sometimes. Oh, man. Fluffernutter. Ooh, fluffernutter. Ooh. Alright. All right. Let's see. A little bit more fluff in there. It's all about dark to light. Dark to light. You start out dark, you build your light colors up on top of your dark colors, man, and that shit look fluffy. I'm trying to teach you now. I'm trying to teach you these free lessons. Don't tell nobody else. Then they gonna be hitting me up like, yo, you gave free lessons to them guys on YouTube. That's on TV. I'm not gonna come to your school and give you free lessons. What the fuck? Is you crazy? You be giving them YouTube dudes free lessons. Man, that's different, yo. They're my homies, you know? I don't even know you like that. I seen your clouds too. Your clouds look kind of flat. I don't fuck with the flat clouds. I don't fuck with that fluffy shit. You ain't got that fluffy shit? I don't want it. Let me see. She ain't fluffy enough. When you see that fluff, you'll know it. As soon as you see it, like, yo, that shit fluffy. Yeah, you know it. Think I be playing. Ain't no games like that. Got me fucked up. Play no games like that, boy. Like I wasn't gonna notice. Come on, man. Fuck out here with that shit. Trying to pass that shit off like it's normal. Oh, I got these clouds. Yeah, get that flat ass shit out of here, man. Fuck around with you. I can't go around my homies with no shit like that. You gonna try to clown me. Trying to get me clown. Crazy. Holla at me when you get your shit together, man. God damn, you need to tighten your ass up, son. That shit ain't fluffy. Come on with that flat ass shit. Alright, I'm putting something on for real. I'm about to listen to some what y'all want to listen to? Any suggestions? Art and comedy. Am I high? Come on, man. What the hell kind of question that is to ask a stranger? You don't even know me like that, bro. And that's the first thing this dude coming here. The first thing. Oh, that ain't the first thing you said. Who is the woman in the painting? Oh, this is my beautiful homegirl, yo. Ain't she so pretty? Yeah, my homie's pretty as hell. I know, right? But then you talking about, are you high? Oh. I do not get high. I don't know what you talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Alright. Was Bob Ross high? Huh? Was Bob Ross high when he paint bushes and trees? I'm just talking about clouds, man. I'm just talking about clouds. Any music I like? Yeah, I like music. The music I like, though, I can't listen to it on YouTube because it's copywritten. And you can't use other people's music or we're going to mute your stream. So when I try to listen to like Kid Cudi and shit like that, it was like, I try to listen to some Linkin Park, they're like, So I be trying to just find like underground shit to listen to that I won't get in trouble for listening to on my show. So I always ask suggestions. You know, just everybody just, you paint your own world. Just a mountain can just live here. And when you make your clouds, you just back and forth. Just back and forth. And then you take your brush and you just beat the hell out of it. It doesn't hurt the brush, just beat the hell out the brush. And back and forth. And, some trees live here. Don't worry, we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents, so you just do however you want to do. This is your own world. There is no right or wrong. Just as long as you Make sure your clouds are fluffy enough. Because we don't fuck with no with those flat clouds. So, you know, bushes and trees, flowers and shit. Yeah. Just everything is just peaceful, calm. Take a little break. Oh, snap, I paint myself. Oh, it's paint. Oh, we be like, yo, Big L, man, yo, let me tell you this shit. Yo, my son said some shit. Yo, my son said something about something, and somebody was jelly. I'm like, what? Oh, they was jelly. I'm like, man, what does jelly mean? Oh, Dad. Oh, it means jealous. It's just like the short way of saying jealous. That's just how we say it now. Instead of saying the whole word, we just say jelly. It's like, you know, it's the new thing. So I said, that's the new thing? The new thing is for y'all to say jelly, right? That's brand new, right? Yeah, you probably wouldn't know about that. Yo, this little cat actually told me that. The words out his mouth was, yeah, you probably wouldn't know about that. Really? Okay, so I put on Big L, Ebonics. I said, just sit down and listen to this. Sit down and listen to this track. You know what I'm saying? And then when Big L said, and Jelly is jealous, my son was like, yeah, dude, this song was out before you was born, my son. You know what I'm saying? Before you was even thought about, my dude. Don't come up here talking about you spitting some new slang at me. Get out of here, dude. 2 Chainz, not really. I don't own a 2 Chainz album at all. I don't. So what I've been listening to lately, right now, I've been switching between 2 CDs in my car, and that is Kendrick Lamar's Damn and Joey Badass's American Badass, are like the two albums I'm listening to right now. Before that, I was on that Schoolboy Q, that Blank Face, and the Lox just put out that last album the Lox put out. I got that Joan, and before that, Kid Cudi put out some good music, man. Kid Cudi, the last album he put out was Passion something and Demon Slaying or something like that. I just listened to that a lot by streaming it. The last album Cudi put out before that was Speeding Bullet to Heaven. I actually got a hard copy of that shit. Pointicity, I think I'm not sure if that is the right name, but Pointicity and the dots. Yeah, I've tried that before. Very, very difficult, very tedious and time consuming. Tyler the Creator, I got his Bastard, I got his Wolf album, and I listened to that Cherry Bomb album. I like that shit, but I never really got it. He goes into that little pedophile thing a little bit where he's chasing the 15-year-old girl and he wants to fuck her. And it's like, oh, Tyler, you're losing me a little bit. It's like a little stretch. I streamed it and I listened to it a lot. I just never bought that album. I don't want to, because I understand Tyler. I do. It's, you know, but I'm at that age now where I don't want my son to hear me listening to certain types of shit. And then, then I'm just riding around bumping some shit. He's like, oh, what the fuck, a 15-year-old? And then my son will look at me like that. I'm like, it's entertainment. It's just entertainment. And then if he listens to some shit, then how can I, you know, say, oh, well, you shouldn't listen to certain things like that. Yeah, it's all good, though. Yeah, but Tyler, the Creator, is the fucking truth, yo. That last, I mean, how his beats and just his flow, his thoughts, that crazy, dark, demonic side he has. I like Tyler, yo. M is, he'll always be in the top. But I don't really listen to much M anymore. I love Eminem's older stuff. I think nowadays you get more of the real Eminem, like off of just little freestyles he'll put out, or you know, some shit he'll drop a verse or some shit like that. Like M had a hard life, man. He been going through a lot of shit in his adult life. You know what I'm saying? I think it made him kind of secluded for a while. You know, he went through rehab, and then he put out the album Relapse, and you know, M had it hard for a minute. You know, I think that it kind of fucked with his creativity, but that's what happens to an artist, man. Artists are really, really sensitive people, and sometimes it's hard for us to function in normal situations, and then when your craft is that exposing yourself on such a level, and he has, you know, such a fan base and such a platform, when you know, let your fans and your audience into certain parts of your life like that shit can always fuck with you too, you know. Never been a fan of Meek Mill's. I never listened to an entire Meek Mill's mixtape or album. I don't think I've ever listened to an entire Meek Mill song from beginning to end. Like, he's not my cup of tea. Yeah, M was out there to, you know, just to get his name out. You know, M was off the wall. Chinese dude in prison, died at very high. DJ Khaled, gets paid for doing nothing. DJ, we the best. Like, nah, I fuck with DJ, but you know, he signed to? The Rock now. So, yo, Jay-Z building up his little empire, yo, Jigga going, yo, I don't know, with that title so I don't really like Jay-Z like that either, you know, as an artist, as a musician, but you know, as a businessman, fucking genius. I love him as a businessman. Yo, the clothing line, the liquor, the new label, and then he bought all the Tupac masters, and then he did Tidal, and it's like, yo, this motherfucker is amazing with that fucking bread and that goddamn investment and shit, yo. So, you know what I'm saying? And now he's signing a lot of the big acts. So you got DJ Khaled on the label now, and then DJ Khaled got all his artists, and now they can do their music through Tidal and keep most of their shit in the distribution and all that. Like, yo, Jigga making moves, yo. But you listen to new rappers like Yachi, I don't. I listen to them so I can be aware of them. Have I found any of them that I like? Once again, I know who these cats are now, because when I don't like being in a conversation and not knowing, oh, well, Kodak Black said this, and I'm like, okay, let me see what Kodak Black said. Okay, I know who Kodak Black is now. And so the one, I know there's this other light-skinned guy, he got his face all tattooed up with a short haircut and is dyed, and he always he talks in the camera like, yo, let me tell you, son. You know what I'm saying? He lick his lips and showing his grill and shit. I'm like, well, who the fuck are all these cats? And then I know the one little short brown, is that Yachi, the short brown skin guy? And wearing dresses, like, I can't get with all this shit, yo. KJ, yo, what up, my dude? Lil Wayne, I grew up with Lil Wayne. I'm only 1 year older than Wayne. Lil Wayne started rapping, he was like 14 or 15, like, you know, out there in videos, you know, with the Hot Boys and shit. I've been listening to Lil Wayne my whole life. Like, maybe, like, after 10 years of Wayne, I was already done, yo. I was just, Wayne, you did it. You're in the fucking Rap Hall of Fame. You've been on, you know, you've been featured on everybody's song who is of any notoriety. You know, everybody has wanted to do music with you and remixes and all this other shit. Yo, Lil Wayne, you've made your stamp in hip hop history. It's enough. I've had my fair share of Lil Wayne. I can remember when the Carter, was it the Carter 3? This was years ago, like, when the Carter 3, it was like such a big hype about fucking that Carter album coming out. And on release date, I didn't get it. I'm like, you know, it's Wade. He's gonna say, you know, throw my baby down the steps. Now I'm step pops or some shit. You know what I'm saying? It's Wayne. you know, and so I didn't get the shit. So I was single at the time, yo. I'm riding around, going to pick up this chick. She get in the car. I'm bumping some motherfucking, like some Machine Gun Kelly or some Tech Nine or something. So she get in the car and she's like, "Oh, put that Lil Wayne in." I'm like, I don't have Lil Wayne. She said it just like she knew I had that Carter 3. Like, yo, put that new Lil Wayne in. Like, I don't have it. She's what? You ain't got Wayne? No. And then like that next week, like I said, I was single. So I'm out on a date with another chick. Swear to fucking God, the exact same thing. She hops in the car, I'm listening to some whatever. And she's like, yo, put that Wayne in. I'm like, what is up with this Wayne shit? I don't know. Benzino? Like what Eminem said about Zeno, nobody would have hear that granddad rap. Young Thug. Back in the day, Young Thug and them boys was popping, you know, Mike Jones and all them cats and oh, not Young, I'm thinking about Slim Thug. No, Young Thug? Hell no, I don't fuck with that nigga. Yeah, I'm thinking about Slim Thug and Mike Jones, Paul Wall, all them boys, they did. Mike Jones did amazing shit, yo. All he did was say his name over and over until you could not forget it. That was an excellent marketing concept, yo. I'ma just say my name, Mike Jones. Mike Jones, who? Everybody know who Mike Jones is, yo. Tiger, I don't know, man. I don't really fuck with him either. Like, I'm old school, dude. Like, Bubba Sparks was, yeah, yo. Bubba was back in the day. That was Timberland. That was Timberland artist, yo. The white country boy rapper. Yo. Damn right. Nipsey Hussle, that fucking nigga, yo. Yo, it took me a minute to get up on Nipsey, too. Actually, Childish Gambino put me up on Nipsey Hussle and Schoolboy Q. Childish put out what's the name of that? Childish Gambino put out this album called Royalty, I think it was. And yo, he had Nipsey Hussle on the song. Ab Soul, like that was my first time really catching a lot of these cats. I'm like, yo, and then kind of figure out they all on TDE. And I was like, okay. Big Samo, I done heard of that cat. I done heard of him. Like I say, man, I know I may look young, yo. I'm 36 years old, man. I listen to like a bunch of older shit. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't know. Like, I still buy CDs. That's how old school I am. That I actually still do buy CDs. But yeah, that Damn and that yo, Vanilla Ice. Yeah, I can agree with you on that. You know what I'm saying? If you hanging upside down off a balcony by some big black dude, you probably wouldn't think you were the best rapper in the world. Kanye went silly after his mom passed away. Once again, man, an artist trying to just deal with their art and their personal life and put their real self into their music. You know what I'm saying? I think after Kanye's mom passed away, that shit really affected him. And then he married into that fucking weird ass family where his father-in-law is now his new mother-in-law. His brother-in-law is ODing at fucking brothels on coke and dick pills, and you know, you dye your hair blonde and shit like this. And I don't know, Kanye just pew. I mean, he's still my man. If he run for president, I'll vote for Kanye West for president. But you know, he just need to chill a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Too uptight, Kanye. You too uptight, man. What if Kanye really sees this? I'm gonna stick with what I'm saying, Kanye. You uptight, bruh. And them goddamn sneakers. in that fashion line, the sweaters with the holes in it for like $2,600. Nigga, you from Chicago, bro. You know, niggas in the hood in Chicago ain't got $2,600 to spend on those sweater with holes in it. I'm just saying, bro. But I understand. It's all good. MC Hammer was the man. They say Hammer used to dance his ass off so much, literally after his performance shows, like the soles on his shoes would be worn down, like, you know, somebody had them on for a year. That's how hard he would dance across that stage to get them checks. Doing that Hammer and a tight rider and the Running Man. He said at the end of the show, his shoes would be done. Like the sole would be worn out. He'd be dancing so hard. I'm like, damn, do it, Hammer. Too legit. Too legit to quit. Too legit. Oh my God. I missed a call from my aunt an hour ago. Wow. And she's on the East Coast, so she called me like 7 o'clock. 7:30. Wiz Khalifa. I kind of fuck with Wiz. Once again, I've never bought a Wiz Khalifa album. Never listened to one of his whole albums. But I like his personality. I listen to some of his interviews and some of his singles and stuff. He alright. Run DMC, Crush, grooving, bodies moving, crush, groove. But anyway, Nas, If I Rule World, EPMD. I know who they is. I can't think of that one song. Oh, I can't think how that shit go right now. Fail. Okay, I failed on that one. Pass. My bad. It goes to album. Oh, yeah, but I don't know, man. Music, hip hop has changed a lot, which it should. You know, culture changes, it evolves. You know, but Bow Wow. Yeah. I'm getting on my private jet right now. Holla at y'all when I land. Sin. And then somebody take a picture of his ass. Bow Wow. You're not on a private jet. You're on American Airlines. I'm sitting right behind you, bitch. Stop lying. Sin. Oh, damn. How you do that, Bow Wow? How you just lie? Just all on, what it was, Twitter? Sitting in coach, not even in first class. Just, you a regular person, man. What happened to your celebrity status? That comes from mismanagement of funds. You know what I'm saying? I need to spank your accountant for that. I don't even blame it on you, man. I need to spank your accountant, and I need to sit down and talk to your mama. Because you had bread since you was a little kid, man. Huh? You been in the movies, and all kind of stuff. What happened to all that money? Poor investments, yo. That's all it is. You ain't buy, real estate. Man, I would have had me two goddamn two housing complexes some way for low income families or something. I would have brought me a Bob's Big Boy, a Five Guys Burgers and Fries, 2 McDonald's, some kind of franchise. What the fuck what did you do? You riding in coach and you got to lie. You got to lie. You ain't got to lie, Craig. This motherfucker lie. I mean, for no reason. Ain't nobody even press you. Ain't nobody even pressing you like, yo, what happened to your jet? Ain't nobody even press you for the information. You just getting on my private G5. What? I see. I'm looking right at you. Bow Wow. I'm looking right at you right now, bro. Unless I'm mistaken, and I'm on a private jet too. This look like the regular airline I always fly. This don't look like a private jet to me. I fly to South Carolina all the time. I've never mistaken my regular flight for a private jet. You know, not even first class. The last time, like I said, I get my son on in the summer, right? So last summer we was flying back home. We're flying to take him home, and I don't know, the flight was overbooked or something, and so they had to give us a different seat. And so when they were switching out the tickets, I had to go to the bathroom. I came back from the bathroom. There was like, my son was like, "Oh, look what ticket they gave me. They had to change my seat." and they gave him, and they had to put him in first class. That was the only available seat on the plane. And the flight attendant was like, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter who sits in the seat. You can sit in that seat if you want to, sir. But you know, it was your son's seat that got changed, so." I was like, nah, he can sit in first class because this is the only way you ever go sit in first class, dog. Hey, enjoy it, baby. Enjoy it. Because I'm not buying no first class seat ticket for you, man. So he get on the plane first. He go up in there. By the time I get on the plane, he's sitting at the first seat in first class with his shoes already off. Kick back. I walk by him. Little motherfucker. Put your damn shoes on, man. What's going on, Dad? This is first class. This is how we do it. Man, you don't put your damn shoes on, man. This ain't no private jet, fool. Oh, then you get off the plane bragging. Oh, they kept bringing me apple juice and potato chips. I ain't even had to ask for it. I ate Coach. And you get a bag of peanuts and a $4 Pepsi. Roll bounce money equals none. Damn. Come on, Bow Wow. Damn, Bow Wow. Little Beezy. And then blew all that bread. So got the clouds a little bit. Oh, snap. Them clouds looking all fluffy. It look, you know, like you can just kind of grab it. You see how 3D that look? You see? That shit look 3D like, but it's not. It's just paint. And the paint is actually flat. I just made it look fluffy. Share. Do you believe in love after love after love after love? And you feel in your heart with the time I get to... Oh, my bad. And then she was in that movie back in the day, Mask. You remember that shit, man? Where her son had like the deformity and his face looked like pumpkin head or some shit like that. And then, you know, the kids were picking at him at school. She's like, "Don't pick at my son." And then he wound up dying and shit. It was sad. It was a sad movie, yo. Mask. That was sharing that shit. Y'all don't know about that right there. Them Jin-Jins, yo. Jin-Jins. Chewy ginger candy. That shit is delicious, yo. I know it's too early in the morning to be eating candy, but I'm grown. I ain't gotta listen to my mama no more. I eat candy when I feel like it. Cause I'm a grown ass man. Candy for breakfast. Yo, that was Carrot Top. Yo, I never knew that. That's fucking amazing, bro. You just told me some shit. Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch that shit again just because I know it's Carrot Top. Yeah, share aging like fine wine, huh, Madonna? Aging like fine wine, yo. And Jennifer Lopez, Asian, fine as hell. Yo, that was Carrot Top. You see how Carrot Top look now, yo? He all like super buff and shit. He look weird as shit. That was my man back in the day, though. His stand-up was the shit. All his props, yo, that motherfucker was, That motherfucker had the craziest fucking props, yo. I like the young Chris Brown before he was on drugs and trying to fight motherfucking Soulja Boy. Chris Brown and Soulja Boy gonna fight, yo. That shit was too funny. You say on them roids, huh? Motherfucker done got, yo, Carrot Top and got jacked the fuck up, yo. Motherfucker super big. Well, look out down Carrot Top. Like he trying to prove something. I'm a comedian, but I'll fuck you up, bitch. That's what you call it did too, yo. Well, not did, but still trying to do. Little, what's the little short black comedian name? Not Cat Williams, the other one. Hart, Kevin Hart. He'll be all in the gym. Think he getting all swole up. You still a comedian. You funny. You a funny man. Go sit down, man. You funny as shit, bro. Think you in the gym. Who for you getting buff for? Who? Motherfucker getting buff for no reason. Comedians don't fight nobody. You got millions of dollars, man. Sit your ass down. I never seen McGruger fight, yo. This is all I'm saying. He a mixed martial artist, all this shit, man. He like to grapple, take motherfuckers to the mat, use his knees, his elbows, his forearms, and shit like that. It all depends on how you gonna fight. If you put Mayweather in his domain, of course he's gonna beat his ass. If you put McGregor and Mayweather's domain and he can only use his hands and can't use his elbows or his knees or grapple, I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? Mayweather might knock his ass the fuck out, yo. They train two completely different ways. And that's the excitement behind it, but what style of fighting are you going to adhere to? It all depends. I'll watch some of his stand-up stuff. And that's just like, what my man name is, Lydell. Chuck. Chuck can grapple, and he can knee, but Chuck can box too. Chuck can knock you the fuck out off the hands, on your feet, with nothing else but them hands. You just throw them hands. And I know a lot of mixed martial artists who can throw them hands. You know what I'm saying? But then once again, like the scoring system is different. If you want to put him all the way in the boxing game, man, I just seen like Mayweather is a smart technical fighter too. He can win just off of points. You know what I'm saying? He'll do an Ali on your ass and rope-a-dope you to fucking death. And jab, 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 hook, and jab, jab you to death and kill you with the points. And come out the victor on top still. He ain't got to knock you out. But, I think that would be very interesting. But like Floyd said, man, that man ain't got the money. You ain't got the nigga. I worth too much. You want to fight me, and then the purse for the payout will be bigger than your whole career. You're like, man, you ain't got the money to step up with me, man. Pay me. You got to pay me to come out of retirement. You know what I'm saying? You know what Mayweather want for a fight like that? Looking like Balrog. Yeah. How Balrog used to stand with the fucking shit like that? Yo. Yo, my favorite Street Fighter shit, though. Street Fighter, the animated movie. That scene when Vega breaks into Chun-Li's apartment and Chun-Li beats the fucking shit out of Vega. I think to this day that's still one of my favorite anime fight scenes ever, yo. Chun-Li and Vega. If y'all never seen the movie, I would suggest watching the whole Street Fighter, the animated movie, the original, and that shit came out in like the 90s or something. They tried to, that was Tyson. You already know that shit. You know that was Tyson and that shit. But goddamn, if you never seen that movie, you could probably just YouTube like that clip. I'll guarantee you if you look up just type in that clip, it'll come up. Street Fighter the movie, Vega versus Chun-Li. Yeah, exactly. They tried to make him look like Tyson, yo. But then Tyson had his own shit. That punch out, that shit was the truth, yo. Mike Tyson punch out. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. You got Glass Joe and what was the fat dude name? Damn, I can't even remember the characters from Mike Tyson Punch Out. That's a shame. What was I gonna do? Oh, I guess I'm gonna go back to the beats. I need to get like another. I don't know. I might play with the clouds one more time. They still not looking fluffy enough yet. It's okay. I think that blue is starting to look really good. Or I could just jump right into the trees. I might do that. I might just pull out some greens. That's it. That's the only thing. I don't have any greens on my palette yet, so I would have to get like all my greens out and try to work on them trees for a little while. I really want to just get this definition with her hair, and so I can separate her hair from that background and really start to make her stand out, so I can focus on the colors of her face a little bit more. So let's see. Trapping in Japan. Trapping in Japan. So we got a little bit of education in this morning talking about the myth of black buying power, and that we don't actually have that $1 trillion spending power that some analysts and statistics talk about, and how we can actually benefit ourselves better by understanding the exact position that we're in. And once again, it's not to say, oh, don't buy black or don't invest your money. Don't put your savings and investments in a black-owned bank, but we're saying we have to be more realistic on what we're actually able to accomplish and what are realistic goals that the black community need to set for ourselves. And once again, it's still all about becoming financially literate, understanding the market and understanding the economy, and actually how business and, capital and revenues and everything like that actually works. So study. There's never a dull moment when you're always trying to learn something, Trapping in Heaven.